Welcome back, everyone. Our new engine is done, so this morning we're going to head over to Seward Speed Shop and pick it up. While we're there, we're going to talk to the builder about what parts he put into it and what machining he had to do. Then we'll hear it running for the first time. Holy there it is! Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo!
After that, if everything goes as planned, we'll get it bolted up and running in the Wander Bug.
Now we do need to use some parts off of our old relic, so we have to load this and take it with us. So lift with your legs.
Right.
All right, what we built was a 1915 cc engine.
Okay, let's start with the block.
Sure.
Now you had mentioned earlier that you wanted this specific block.
Yes, yes.
And why is that?
This is an AS21 case.
Okay.
So the AS21 is the strongest of the original VW engine cases.
Cool.
This has a much higher aluminum content than magnesium content.
Okay.
They were the fuel-injected engines that came in the Beetles from 1975 to 79.
And that is why we have no provision for a fuel pump.
That's why there's no provisions for a fuel pump.
But we've got an electric one in our Bug, so
yep,
we're golden.
You'll be fine. Yeah.
And then what's inside the case then? Inside
the case, we have a 69 millimeter MP counterweighted crankshaft.
Okay.
We've got 311B connecting rods. They're a factory Volkswagen connecting rod. Mm-hmm. They're all rebuilt. An angle 90 camshaft with angle lifters to match.
Okay, and that's a fairly mild.
It's a very, very mild camshaft.
Okay,
very mild.
Because we had talked earlier about our needs and wants with this thing, and
yep.
This ain't no race car, folks.
Right.
This has to get us to point A to point B, and more importantly, get us back to point A.
Correct.
So we want reliability.
Yep.
We just wanted a little bit extra horsepower to get us up hills, to carry some gear.
Yep.
And why not?
Exactly.
We all want more.
And this engine will build really, really good torque, especially with the single carburetor.
Yeah, and thank you very much for sticking with the single, because I had thought, after we talked, I was looking at pictures and everything. Oh man, look at the dual carbs and all that. Looks really cool.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you brought me back down to earth with the single barrel. This is going to be far more reliable than a fancy carburetor.
And if you're out and about and you have issues, it's going to be a lot easier to deal with that than with dual carbs and so on.
Yeah, I don't
so
want
forth.
to fiddle around with tuning if I don't have to. One carb's bad enough.
Exactly. Now you got two to deal with.
Yeah.
So
and then how about the new jugs, new pistons?
Brand new pistons and cylinders. They are 94 millimeter mollies. They're a forged piston. These are an old school set that I had sitting on the shelf for years and years and years. They call them the Molly Red Box. Okay. And that's back in the day when stuff was really, really good. So really nice components. Really nice components there. The cylinder heads are a 39 by 33, so it's a little bit larger valve. And they're opened up for the 94s. We did a bunch of porting and polishing. We also Hemi cut the heads to lower the compression on this, and then did a bunch of port work as well.
About roughly what compression are we looking at?
8.4 to 1.
Good.
So it'll have a little bit of snap, but
still on pump gas.
Yeah, but on pump gas, and it'll be reliable. It won't build a ton of heat. So
good. Good deal.
Basically everything that you guys will want for an off-road, an off-road / on-road car. So
there you go.
Yeah.
And there's not much to these things, really.
No, there's not a ton to it.
Just your basic stock type intake.
Type 1 intake and castings. They're ported and polished as well, to port match to the cylinder heads and get a little bit more out of it.
Sure. Well, it's always good to match up those surfaces so you don't have a ledge that disrupts the flow through and just screws everything up.
Basically not building more horsepower, just freeing up horsepower.
Yeah.
So.
And using what you got more efficient.
Exactly.
Now, what did you do down here? This is the oil pump, I take it, back here?
This is the oil pump. It's a 26 millimeter Shadek oil pump. It's got one of our Seward Speed Shop full flow covers on it. And yeah, nothing crazy there. Just a good, efficient oil pump. It's everything that you guys need for this setup here.
Because those of our Toyota folks, you may not realize this, but with the air-cooled engine, it actually gets air-cooled plus cooled by the oil also. So having a good flowing oil system not only lubricates, but it also cools. So there you go, Toyota people, you learned something.
Exactly. And the Volkswagen engine never came with a oil filter.
Yeah.
So from the factory, we did not have oil filters.
There's just a very coarse screen.
That's it.
Under there. I took it out and I was shocked.
It's going to catch piston fragments when a piston blows up.
It's
a blow-up screen. It is not
a blow-up screen.
It is not a filter. It is not a filter.
Yeah, but with this here, with the lines coming out, we'll be able to do our remote oil filter and even a additional oil cooler.
Correct.
That we're going to put in. This is the oil cooler, by the way.
Yep.
The stock type, and this goes in the shroud, and it gets air flowed right past it.
Yep.
And normally this is enough, as long as all these what we call tins are on the engine. That should be enough, but you know how we are.
Overkill. There's nothing wrong with it.
No, and idling in traffic may get it warm, going slow up dirt hills and that. That might get a little warm, so that extra cooling will help.
Surely.
What else we got? Anything?
Well, we rounded it off with a Keepa 39 millimeter carburetor. As a rule, we would stay away from the Chinese carburetors, but we've been using these for over a year and had just great luck with it.
Good.
With doing a larger displacement engine and just a single carburetor, we need more flow, we need more fuel.
So this one's a little bit
in order to
bigger.
get this to idle, and this is bigger.
Good.
As this engine. Well, this engine was fuel injected, but the carbureted engines would come with a 34 picked carburetor, and this is a 39. So,
bigger is better.
Bigger is better. Exactly. Those are real dual carbs. That's 48 IDAs.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that's
a lot of air.
It's a lot of air. It's a lot of fuel. A lot of power. Big power.
Wow.
Yep. So
so we brought our old relic with and all our old parts, and now we're going to transfer some of that stuff over to the new motor, and then hopefully hear it run eventually.
Yeah.
All right, let's
Sounds
get
like
started.
a plan.
My big thing is I don't want to have to walk.
Yes.
Wow. I hate to break the news.
It is a Volkswagen after all.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you're still in a Volkswagen. So. You just don't want to walk that much.
Yeah, not that far.
Either walk to a motel or a parts store.
Exactly. This is going to be great.
Oh, what the hell? Probably a mouse nest.
We'll hit her with some air. How about that, huh? That one actually
this is going to fall right off.
That's not gonna work.
Yeah, that's going to fall right off. I don't know.
Are we actually semi close to throwing fire? Boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom.
Do some vroom.
We're gonna steal a battery from a forklift. Hey man, batteries are expensive now. Let's see if we got spark. It wants to start. I don't want it to. I don't want it to start quite yet, but she's ready. That'll work. That'll work for a good baseline. All right.
This is it?
Let's see if we can actually crank on it for a little bit and get some fuel to it.
Holy
There it is!
woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Man, it fired right up.
We'll probably have some tuning with the choke and everything to do too, so.
What's that all about?
Junk.
Is it?
No good. I've seen them to where they'll throw that much advance in them, and
That was crazy.
that's no bueno.
So folks, what happened is we had a baseline at idle of 10 degrees advanced, and we just hit the throttle just a hair bit and went up to 50, which you say 36 is
Max. That's really max,
That's
and
not
we want
even
this
what we
around
want.
30, 32.
Yeah, so for some reason it ramped way up to 50. We're assuming this is just a cheap Southeast Asian type of distributor here. So we're gonna ditch that. Luckily he has a good one on the shelf that we're gonna put in there instead of this one.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
That's not acceptable.
No.
So now you were saying that the engine used to get hot.
Yeah, maybe that was it.
I can guarantee you that it was probably cranking about 50.
Yeah.
You know,
Now, what would be the cause of that? Is it in the vacuum?
way too much advance built into this.
Oh, built into it.
Built into it,
Okay.
yeah. Now, we could try to run it without vacuum and just run it mechanically. But if it's already doing goofy things,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
why even?
Yeah, let's just ditch
Why
that.
go down the path of can we make it better?
Can we make
Who
it
cares?
work? Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
want to have a
That's-
let's just make it work scenario.
No.
This thing has to be spot on.
Yep. That's
So let's take care of those problems right away.
this has an igniter 3 built into it, or in this unit. So this has built-in rev limiter.
Oh, really?
It's got more options in a dinky little unit than you could even imagine.
Okay, I'll
So-
do it.
Yeah, so you can look into how that functions and make sure we don't do amateur hour and swap it up on you. We've changed firing order enough on it now. it could confuse the best of us. All right, let's hook up some power. That is one thing to remember when you're hooking up your electronic ignitions. Just really watch and really be careful.
So you don't ground it?
You only get one shot at it, man. One shot. If you hook this up backwards and turn the ignition on, it's game over.
See if she fires.
Let's see if she fires again. Or where we're at. Ooh. A little bit retarded. Yeah, it will even take a little out of that. We'll set it up at 30 for you right off the bat.
Okay.
That's going to give us a baseline of about 8. So
good.
it's
Boy, what a difference.
you can hear how well it runs too, as compared. Locker there.
Sweet.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. Great oil pressure at idle. 50 pounds. It's still cold, but
Oh
yeah.
boy, that old relic, it was maybe 10.
Yeah. Holding pretty consistent there.
Awesome. Warmed up
That's bottom idle right there. So, and it'll, as the engine warms up, your idle will go up a little bit more than that. So, yeah. But for a starting point, we're good.
Yeah, I think so too.
We're good right there.
I think we're very good.
Yeah. We'll run some fuel out of it. And coming off, she's usually a little tight, but we'll find
By holding onto the push rod tubes, they're not going to bend or anything, are they?
No.
Because they're a good handhold.
Yeah.
Ready?
She's tight. There
she goes.
It's a new disc, so.
There it is, folks, in all her glory.
She's ready.
And
She's ready. Throw her in.
Yeah.
Well, as you can see, folks, we got it home. Now it's just a simple matter of bolting it in.
Yeah, over there at Seward Speed Shop, Adam is a super guy to deal with and so knowledgeable about these VWs. We're very thankful for having him in the neighborhood and as a friend now. So yeah, go online, search out Seward Speed Shop. If you need any help, need anything built, need any advice, give him a shout. But yeah, now we need to, so do you remember how we took the old one out?
Yeah, right. Good thing we've got video.
Okay, I'm gonna go up.
Okay, it needs to come up another 1.5 inches. Yeah, you're too far.
Too far up.
Yeah, you need to come down 1/2 inch.
Okay, I'm gonna go straight in.
Okay,
Are they lining up?
it seems to be.
Okay, we hit a bit of a snag. It turns out that this, and I don't know why on earth it makes a difference, but this transaxle we have in here is a 6-volt transaxle, and this is a 12-volt flywheel that we have on here now. We can't, so it won't go all the way in there. This flywheel is about 1/4 inch too large in diameter to fit into our transaxle. But I just got off the phone with Adam at Seward Speed Shop. He says this is very, very common, happens all the time. What we need to do is take the grinder and grind a little bit here at the bolt holes on the transaxle, and then this, and a little bit of trial and error, and this should slip in. So that's what we're gonna do. All right, I'm gonna go in.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not. I think we'll have to trim a little more off. All right, let's back it back out. It's definitely, the teeth of the flywheel are definitely hitting here still. A little bit here. So, yep, we'll just have to trim it down a little bit more. Keep going until it slides in. All right, here goes. Still not enough.
There you go. You're in.
Is it all the way in?
As far as I can tell.
No, it's out still a little bit over on this side anyways. All right, let's pull it back out and see where it's hitting now. Okay, I can see where it's hitting, so we'll have to take off just a little bit more. Hitting more at the top now. Okay, get the grinder. One more time we'll do it. Let's pull her back out. Well, I finally got it, so the engine will go all the way back in and sit up flush with the transaxle. It is still hitting a little bit, but not much. I had to take quite a few passes with the grinder to it. You know, take off a little bit, pull the engine back out, see where it was hitting, take the grinder to it. I think one more time though will definitely take care of it. So I'll have to pull it back, grind a little bit, but well, Mary already gave up. It's getting late. So Mary already gave up and went in the house to do her thing. And I'm going to do one more pass with the grinder, put it back in, make sure that it's not hitting anywhere in that bell housing, the flywheel. And I haven't tried putting the starter in. Hopefully it's going to mesh up with that larger diameter flywheel. But yeah, it's getting late. I'm getting tired. I'll probably see you tomorrow. So we got the bell housing of the transaxle clearanced for the larger diameter flywheel. Went to put the starter on. Starter would not engage with the teeth of the flywheel. So I had to order one at the auto parts store for a 1970 Beetle, and it finally came in yesterday afternoon late. We put it in, and now
Everything's back together and it runs.
it does run. We took it out for a long test drive yesterday, and I was really impressed on the power this thing is putting out.
Night and day compared to the old one.
The old 1500 single port that we pulled out was rated stock at around 45 horsepower.
At the shape that old thing was in, I doubt that it was even putting out that much.
I doubt it too. Now, Adam, our engine builder, estimates this one to be around 80 horsepower and 90 foot-pounds of torque. And torque is what we're looking for. Now, most people, especially here in the US, I think concentrate too much on horsepower ratings, those numbers, when actually you should probably give at least equal amount of attention to torque ratings. Because horsepower will determine how fast a vehicle will go. Torque determines how fast you get up to that speed. So for climbing hills, for getting through mud, sand and that, I think torque is what we are really looking for.
Our goal was to have an engine with some pulling power, but was also built for reliability.
Yeah, and I think that Adam knocked it out of the park with this thing. We have a little bit of fine tuning. Over time, we'll get the jetting just right in the carburetor. The throttle linkage needs a little bit of fine tuning, but other than that, out of the box, this thing is right on spot.
Let's see where we're at on the build board.
Now in stage 2, we had rear swing arm bushings, which we're actually going to move that to when we put the new transaxle in. They'll be taken apart then, so it'll be much easier to do it then. The front king and link pins in the front suspension are done. And boy, what a huge difference that makes. The old ones were super worn out. What it is the link and king pins take the place of the modern day ball joints. So they control the movement of the suspension this way and up and down. And they were totally worn out. So the vehicle, every time you hit any kind of groove in the pavement, it would dart over the front end of the Volkswagen, dart over a foot, maybe two. And it was really sketchy, dangerous. But now it's really nice and solid and it's drivable.
Yeah, those were really bad.
Yeah. Here's one of those, this is the link pin and the bushing it goes through. And these are supposed to be nice and solid going in and out, no play. But this one, can you hear that? This thing is so freaking loose. And yeah, I'm glad we got rid of them.
So, going down the list.
First up here on stage 3, sun visors, we have not gotten that done. Roll bar that will allow us to have a shoulder straps in here, we have not done that. We still have to take out that rat rod gas tank and replace it with the stock one, which we have. That'll give us much more cargo area in the front. But before I can do that, I have to take the brake reservoir off of the master cylinder and move it up. So we can get to it later after we put the stock tank back in. A roof rack, which is becoming more and more important because there's no place to put the spare tire. So we have to get that done. Paint the body, that's way down the road. Side Nerf bars, we don't have to have those right away. Interior door panels, we haven't got that. Floor mats, haven't got that. The dash knobs and gauges and warning lights. The only thing we don't have is a cup holder, but that we can mark off the list.
Well, we can't mark cup holder off because
We'll
that would
have
be
to
a
remember.
lie.
We'll have to mark that back in there.
Huh.
Oh, and wheels, tires, and a spare tire. We found some wheels. Hold on a second, let me get one. These are ones that we found on Marketplace. Really dirt cheap. They're 15 by 8s, American racing rims back from like the 80s. And these are really cool. They're showing a little bit of rust, but I think that with some polish, they'll come out perfect. Get the wipers to work better. They're not 100%. I would like to have a 2-speed wiper, but for now, they do kind of clear the rain off the windshield. I think we'd be better off just with a rag with our hand doing it, but it's okay, it'll work. The e-brake light, warning light that the emergency brake is on, so we don't go driving around with the emergency brake on all the time. That is on and done. That was another famous project that we did. Door locks, we haven't figured that out yet. Radio and speakers, that's way down the road. A dual battery for the fridge, that's down the road. Heater, we do have a diesel heater coming that we are going to try out in this thing. Stay tuned for that video. An all metal fuel line. Now this is one I just added. When we were over at Adam's shop, Seward Speed Shop, he had this pristine old Volkswagen Beetle in there. The blue one had an engine fire. Apparently the fuel filter finally deteriorated, a plastic fuel filter I think it was. Maybe it was a glass one. Anyways.
I think it was glass.
But it had the fittings, the rubber fittings and rubber hoses on it. And eventually, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when those rubber lines finally give out on you. And it did on this. Fuel spilled all over on the exhaust and poof, it went up in flames. And now he has the task of rebuilding it. So we are definitely going to put an all new, all metal fuel line all across in front of and beside the engine. And hopefully that will prevent us from going up in flames. Then we get into stage 4, and originally we had a 1600cc motor with a dual port, 2-barrel, Weber carb, and a camshaft. Well, you know we got a new motor now, so we can cross that off the list. And we're really happy with that.
I just thought of something to add.
What?
A fire extinguisher.
Oh yeah, we'll hit up the fire extinguisher too, man. Another reason for a roll cage, roll bar.
Oh, a place to put it?
The place to put it, yeah. And then down here you see a new transmission. Yeah, we're going to spend some time driving around in the next month or so, driving this thing around and figure out exactly what kind of gearing we want. Because we talked to Adam at Seward Speed, and we're going to work with him on this. And he said that there's kind of a infinite combination of gearing that we can go through to get the first, second down a little bit lower, but third and fourth up a little higher, so we get some more highway speed out of it. But we're going to figure that out in the next month or so, and then get Adam on getting us a new transmission quickly before spring.
Because some things have been completed and others added, and we found some problem areas, priorities have changed a little bit. So we redid our list.
And you'll notice that before the transaxle was down here at the last stage, you notice that we bumped that way up towards the front of the list. And this is kind of in priority. Whoops. In priority, this being the most important going down, and this stuff over here being not so important that we could actually take and do, months from now. That's not important, but this stuff is really important.
Yeah, the transmission is another big dollar item. So much for it being a budget build.
It depends on your definition of budget. I mean, we could just get this thing running, cobble it together with, junkyard parts and some cheap parts. But, I mean, it wouldn't be reliable. It wouldn't be fun to drive because we'd always be afraid of it breaking down. So I think that, a little bit of investment in it, at the right places in it, is going to make it something that we can use.
I guess you're
and
right.
Not just an ornament out in the garage and eventually out behind the garage. This is something that we're actually going to be able to drive and use and go on adventures with.
And not have to worry about walking.
Well, it's still a Volkswagen. So there's always that possibility.
Well, we'll just have to save money elsewhere then.
We'll try. And like I said earlier, the stuff in this column, this isn't really important right now, so we could actually do it, you know, a year from now. I wouldn't want to wait that long, but you know, we could if we had to. But this stuff, this we have to do.
We can't go on a trip without a radio.
We'll sing to each other. That'd last about 3 miles.
Well, folks, as you can see, we have our work cut out for us.
Yeah, our goal is still to get this thing up and running, ready for adventure travel by early spring, which is, what, 3 months away? But that seems like a long time, but we'll have to keep at this stuff. Otherwise, we're going to get to the end and run out of time. So we have to keep plugging away.
We'll continue to put out updates on our progress, so be sure to subscribe to our channel.
And hit that like button and leave a comment. Thanks for watching.